He pulled off what I think is the greatest hoax in Scottish history. Hi, I'm Jono McLeod, and I am the director and writer of My Old School. In 1993, a new kid arrived in my high school class. He had a tragic backstory, and he was a bit of a geek. He didn't really fit in with the rest of the kids.
He looked like a man?
Over the course of the next year, he managed to climb the social ladder of high school life and become one of the most popular kids. And later on, we found out exactly why he was so good at being a high school kid.
It became a bit of a running joke. Brandon, do you know? Of course, 10 out of 10 times he always knew. He always knew the answer.
I'm getting somewhere. This is good. This is a good report.
The inspiration for the feel of the film was the high school movie as a genre, but in a documentary. I felt like that I'd never seen that. I felt like the ultimate high school movie had walked into my classroom 25 years ago. Alan Cumming was attached to a narrative film that was going to be made back in the 1990s. He was going to direct and star as Brandon. We classmates were all sitting waiting to see this film that never happened. And as the only classmate who grew up to be a filmmaker, it sort of fell to me. What I realised was that we'd never actually all got together and tried to piece together our version of events with the teachers and the classmates and to try and tally that to Brandon's story. So that's what this film tries to do. It kind of plays with memory and time. And you realise that memory can't be trusted in the same way that Brandon probably can. When you're telling a story that is built on lies, there's no way to get to an absolute definitive truth. So all I could do was get as many people on board as possible, and then in the edit suite, try and forensically put together what is the most likely version of events. Who can you trust? You sit in the edit suite and you go, they have no idea what they're talking about, but let's put that bit in anyway and use that to kind of lead the audience along on this mystery tour that we take people on. I almost liken it to building this roller coaster ride where we have a really fun climb, but then when the movie reaches a certain point, we're off on a trip.
When I show them my driver's license, it's going to be under a slightly different name. And we were like, what?
Part of what I want for this film is actually for Brandon to have an understanding of there is a great achievement in his life, and it's that he pulled off what I think is the greatest hoax in Scottish history. He talks in the film about, his ability to convince people of things. And, and some people refer to it as mind control or whatever. I mean, it's the definition of mind control. If a pupil like Brandon Lee can stand on a high school musical stage and perform for hundreds of adults and children and not be found out, then that's mind control, isn't it? It has to be. One of my classmates, Stephen, the interview that I did with him was a real eye-opener. For me personally, as much as for the story of Brandon. Stephen had a really hard time at school, and I wanted to acknowledge that in the film. And the person who managed to change things and make things a little bit better for him was, surprise, surprise, someone who is fairly knowledgeable about how to make it through high school. When I asked him, was Brandon Lee a real person? And Stephen really thought about this for a long time and said, well, all I can say is, what is a person? And it was one of those moments when you get chills and you think, oh my gosh, that's the movie, that's what this is. It's that moment.